Hi everyone. Well, today's the day. I think I've got my darkest darks in here, and so I am going to quickly wax what I painted yesterday. Then I will do another wax over everything. Then I will sprinkle on the dark paint, some dark paint, the dark brown on here. I will put another layer of wax over this, let that set up, and this is the exciting part, how I remove the wax so that you can see how it all looks. That's the big reveal. So I'm so excited, the day is finally here. I will make another short video on just putting the gold leaf in here, in these few areas here, but it will be just a very short video. Let's get started. Okay, wax is melted. Brush is now soft. And here I go. This is just where I've waxed, or where I've painted the darkest areas. Everything else has been completely waxed. I think all of the flower itself is completely waxed. If not, it will be. The reason for doing this final waxing is to make sure everything's covered, and then the other part of that final waxing is to make sure that I haven't missed one tiny area of that. This is all in preparation for the final texturing. You see in batiks they've got those fine lines and little cracks in there with a darker color. That's what I'll be preparing to do. So I'm just going to quickly do this. And it doesn't take long to put the final coat of wax on, nor does it take long for it to get hard, because I will stick it outside in the cold, well, maybe. Or in your freezer if you want it to get hard quicker, you can stick it in your freezer. When I took the workshop, the mini workshop, that's what we did, is we stuck it in the freezer so it would quickly harden up. But it's cold and snowy today, so I'll have to see whether I can go outside with this, whether it's actually snowing at that time or not. I can't wait to get started on my next painting, which I'll go back to the aspen tree painting for my husband because he wants that. It may look like the background is pretty dark all over, but it's not really. Because remember, we've got all that light area covered up as well. I think I'll get rid of this. There's a painting in itself, kind of, sort of. I will also include in the final video, once this all dries, and I've got it all waxed and all the cracking and all of that good stuff done in the final video, I will also show you how I mat it to watercolor paper, and then it would be ready to frame. Because that's important too. I had one of my artist friends comment yesterday on what would happen if you used a different color of paper to mount it on. Well, you could do it, but I think if you put it on a different color, a red or something like that, it would change the colors drastically. Maybe if you planned that in advance, it would work, but I'm not sure I would want to do that. My husband kept saying, well, why don't you put it in one of those frames where you've got glass on either side, so it would look like a stained glass painting. Not possible, because then you really can't see it good. So, see, if I held it up like this, it's okay, but once I take that wax off, you just wouldn't be able to see it. I mean, it looks really good like this, but I've also got it in light and it's not shining through it. But if you hung that in a window or something, it wouldn't work. Unfortunately, because that would be awesome if you could. Another way of doing stained glass. However, wouldn't be good for the painting itself. My plan is to cut this so that this back of this sunflower is the edge of the paper and have more of the background over here. That's my plan. I want to buy this little skillet on Amazon. It's called an Elite Gourmet electric frying pan, 7x7, and I think it was like $19.99 or very cheap. In the grand scheme of things, I think that's pretty cheap. But if you've got a big frying pan that you no longer use, then that's fine too. It's just you don't need a special melting pot just for wax. I've only used one block of that wax, so it does go quite far. I'm anxious to see how this wax performs when I crinkle the paper and crack it. I know how the Gulf, G-U-L-F wax works, and that can be a little bit brittle. So my plan is to add a little bit of beeswax to make it just a little bit softer, so that I don't, because I don't want to lose big chunks of wax off the painting itself and then have the dark go over big chunks of it. That would not. Oh. Cooled off a little bit. That wouldn't be good. Oops. Better wait until that melts just a little bit more. Turn my fan on so it would help the wax harden on the paper, but it also cooled the wax off a tad. So I'm going to pause this, let this dry a second, and then I'll come back in. You can see how shiny that is. I stuck it out my front door, hardened it within just a couple of seconds. It's not real cold outside, but it's chilly. It's like 32 degrees, so still freezing. And still snowing. It's sort of a snow-rain mixture right now. Painting these is what gets me through winter. Okay, this is the coat that I'll put on and then allow it to dry and harden, and then I will crack it. Then I will sprinkle the paint on. And we want to make sure we've got a lot of wax on here now. So the paper's quite stiff now. And it will be even stiffer and heavier. I want to get this all finished before I remove it. Doing that this way assures me that I have got every little millimeter covered in wax by doing this. Now when I remove the wax, I won't be removing all of it. You cannot get all of the wax out of the paper. So that helps to preserve it and protects it from UV rays and environmental issues, but I still wouldn't hang it in direct sunlight. That's just asking for trouble. You can hang it behind glass. Like I said, you can also put it on, mount it onto cradled wood, which I really love putting my paintings on that rather than framing them. When you lift this painting up off the surface that you're, lift this painting off the surface that where you're waxing it, just lift it really careful. You don't want to tear it. And if you wax it and then lift, it will also come up a little easier rather than letting it get too hard. I think that's it. So now I'm just going to pause this again. Then I'll come back, show you how I crinkle it and crack it. We will sprinkle the paint on there and then put another layer of wax over that. And then we'll let it get hard and then we'll start removing it. That's the plan. Okay, that's it. I'll be back in a few. Okay, I've got a little bit of cracking going on over here, all on its own, and I quite like that. So it's definitely stiff. You can hear it. You can still see the painting through there, but it's very cloudy. This is the back side, which is brighter, but this is the correct side. See the cracking up in here? I'm just going to start cracking it more. don't think I'm going to crumple this one. The first one that I did, I crumpled it a lot. And I had bigger chunks of wax come off, and I really don't want the wax to come off. And it's certainly more controllable this way. I'm going to say not crumple anymore. I don't think that's necessary. I think this is much more controllable. You don't have big pieces of wax coming off of it either. I have small pieces coming off. But I think I like this much, much better. We'll mix all of this together and we'll just create more brown, which was the indigo, the burnt orange, and had a tiny bit of warm red in it. I want this to be a little thicker. Fill this whole well with this. This isn't so much brown, but I think I might go with it. It's more of a Payne's gray. And now I'm just going to flick this in these areas. And you can decide how much you want on there. I'm going to call that good. Quite a bit of paint on there. And get my wax back in here. I'm going to get out my big brush. Soften it up. Might take a few more minutes because it's really hard. and then wax it again. Now it's getting really heavy. Then when you iron it to remove the wax and it starts melting, some of that fresh paint that you just put in there will seep down in the cracks as well. Good, it's not sticking. Have any of you been able to check out Kathy George's website and see some of her paintings that she's done? If you haven't, please do. She's wonderful. Now, if I could only meet her in person and actually take a class from her. Okay, I think I've got that all covered. I think. Okay, scrape off the wax. I am going to pause this again and get my newsprint out and get my iron set up. And we will remove the wax. And then we can see how it turned out. Okay, I don't need the wax anymore, so I'll turn that off. Get that out of my way. And I'll pause this and I'll be back shortly. Well, now's the fun time. Well, another fun time. And that's to remove all this wax. You can see how heavy this is here. It's hard. And I've just got some newsprint. And I'm just going to start ironing it. Which is a no-brainer. If you know how to iron, you can do this. If you don't know how to iron, you can still do this. I don't like to iron, but I can still do this. I've got this set on my highest setting, and I'm just going to start ironing it. I think I'll take a layer off. Maybe a couple layers. There, you can see the wax starting to come off right there. I'm just going to do the same thing all over it until all of the paper's wet. And then I'll remove top and bottom of the paper, a few layers, or it gets down to dry. Add a few layers if I need to. And just keep doing this until I don't have any more wax coming up. And this is not an iron I use on my clothes. This is just an iron that I got just simply for this. Ooh, I'm not going to show you. Ooh. Ironing board. It wouldn't be big enough, and I wouldn't want to get the wax on the ironing board. This is just on my desk in my studio. And the blackboard that I was using, that black cardboard, I used a petty knife and scraped as much of the wax off of that as I could, so that when I put it aside and want to use it again, I'm not finding wax everywhere. I try to limit the amount of wax I get on my floor, which surprisingly was only a tiny bit. Okay. There it is. Still got a lot more wax to come through. Throw this in my garbage can. Lift this up. Have to put that up again. I don't want the wax to cool off too much. I'm going to turn my fan on. I've just got an overhead fan that I can turn off so that that doesn't dry this wax, because that makes it harder to lift this paper off. See, it's come back to the soft, flexible part now. When I first started doing this, I wondered if this would take hours to take off. I was like, nope, sure doesn't. It may seem like it when you're trying to take it off, but this newsprint works really well. I think I like it better than newspaper. Hobby Lobby, or if you could find it online, you could probably get more of it. But a larger quantity, let me put it that way, not more of it. Of course you can get more of it at Hobby Lobby. You notice Hobby Lobby's not carrying as many art supply stuff? It's disappointing. Not that I buy my paper from there, because I only buy that online, and usually from Blix. And I'm not affiliate of Blix, nor am I associated with Hobby Lobby, other than I like to shop there. getting warm. I didn't even have to have my heater on. I may not have much more wax on here. I'm at 15 minutes removing this wax, which is not too bad. And the one thing that I didn't do, that I highly recommend you do, is sign it before you wax it, which I didn't do today. I think I'll probably just use some gold leaf and sign it with that. Just got 2 sheets on it right now. I think having painted this as quickly as I did, drew it out and everything, all the prep work and everything, and doing that in videos at the same time, I think it was rather fast. Now, I would do a prep for an hour, a little over an hour, and then I would immediately start on editing my video. And once I had it edited and uploaded to YouTube, then the next day I would start in again. Only spending an hour per day doing this, that's nothing in a studio. I can spend 5, 6 hours in my studio, 7 hours in my studio. My back doesn't appreciate that, but while things are drying and setting up and everything, I'm doing laundry and staying busy. Got my Fitbit on so I can exercise while I'm doing all of this. So I think that's pretty good. You could do this whole picture in probably 2 days. If you spent 4 or 5 hours on it a day, 2 days max. A little bit more wax is coming off that. Not much. Okay, I'm going to say that's done. What do y'all think? I'm still very pleased with it. I still think it turned out really good. So I'm going to call this all for today, and tomorrow I will mount it, give this time to dry and straighten up my studio a little bit, and then I will show you how I mount it on watercolor paper. Then we shall be, oh, plus I've got, before I mount it on the watercolor paper, I want to do the gold leaf and sign my name in the gold leaf. So there you go. This is the back side of it. It's a little bit more dull. I prefer this side. And I don't know whether you can see this really good or not, but I did splash a little bit of turquoise in a couple of places in here. Just because I could. Thank you all. I appreciate you. Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up as always. I will see you later. Bye.